Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, my friend's mom pushed me into a table saw. My friend's mom pushed me into a table saw update. Third update on table saw incident. Most likely the last update. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My friend's mom pushed me into a table saw. This happened 8 months ago. My friend, Kylon, and I work in a woodworking company. It's a pretty great job for me, as I love hands-on activity and creating things. Kylon, however, has more of a difficult time with it all. Which is completely fine as I help him with it. His mom and my mom aren't necessarily close, but both support me and him in our work. We're pretty young, so it helps with reassurance. But a few days before this incident, I started to realize that Kylon's mom never really acknowledged my work. Now that's not really a big deal to me as I don't require praise, but I do find it a bit weird as Kai's mom has apparently had a few racial incidents at her own work and I'm African. I was just assuming it's because she's afraid. I'm a pretty built guy and 6 feet 6 inches. Fast forward to Tuesday, and I'm working on a wooden chair that has taken me a few more attempts than wanted. The table saw I had been using to make clean cuts was pretty rusty from Kai using it constantly. I headed out to the department to get a replacement and was a bit annoyed with Kai not doing it himself. I came back and said, "Hey man, don't be afraid to change your equipment." And he rolled his eyes and just replied with a K. Which just annoyed me even more. I just pushed past it and continued. But minutes later, I heard Kai laughing and I looked up to find him laughing at my cutting. This made me extremely upset as I've been working almost day and night while he only works 7 to 9 hours. This along with his mom recently coming into shop and laughing along with him. This got to me and I walked over to Kai and told him a few words that I shouldn't have. He immediately got defensive and pushed me back and I was about to strike back when his mom instantly joined in with him and intentionally pushed me to the left where the saw was. Stupidly, I left it on. As soon as I was pushed back, the back of my hand was shoved right into the saw, causing a drizzle of blood to just gush everywhere and for my palm to be basically split in half with a huge gap between my pinky and ring finger. The shock kicked in and I instantly grabbed my hand and shouted for my mom who was on the other side of the shop. She immediately got an ambulance and I was sent to the closest hospital. Kai has been texting me almost every day apologizing for his mother. The only text from her was her saying that this was my fault and to not hurt her son. Update: after scrolling through the comments, I think I need to clear some things up. I am 17 years old. I'm allowed to work here because my brother-in-law, 29, owns it along with his father. I'm trusted. How did I manage to keep the saw on? Again, I'm not sure myself. Extremely critical mess up on my part. Your hand would have been split in half. Yes. It is basically split in half. It stopped at a gap in between and thankfully by a miracle wasn't completely cut in half, but was itching off the edge from a clean cut down the middle. Minor update: I got in contact with EM's husband and told her about the full situation and that she was intentionally trying to harm me. Apparently EM had been telling her husband a completely different story. He seemed pissed and said he'd talked to EM. This was about 3 hours ago. She assaulted a minor. Press charges. How do you know they're a minor? I don't think it's ever specifically stated. Call the cops and press charges. Either way it happened, that was assault, maybe even more. She needs to be held accountable for her actions both in justice and money-wise. File the report and save all communication from them both. Did she mean it was your fault or her fault? Also, everyone was somewhat at fault. You don't mess around when there are blades or power tools in the area. I hope you recover fully and quickly. She said everything that took place that day was entirely my fault. Hasn't even offered to help pay for my surgeries. My friend's mom pushed me into a table saw. Update. First, Kylon and I have made up. It wasn't his fault for what his mom did, and I get that. Secondly, after telling EM's husband about what actually has been going on and him getting pissed at EM, he's taken me into the station to get things sorted out and asking how I want to move forward. I haven't really decided what I'd like to do at the moment, but I'm leaning towards just money for compensation or something. EM 2 days ago has also showed up at my house demanding for me, but I wasn't there at the time. But when I did get back home, I saw EM standing there waiting for me. My mom said she stayed there the whole time waiting for me, and I went up to ask her what's going on and why she's here. And in response, I got a huge glob spat in my face and a whole bunch of yelling. Honestly, it took me a lot of restraint to not yell at her back, but I just calmly told her to get away from my mom and my house. Eventually she did. Update, again. Finally, after tons of comments, I'm going to take this to court. EM's husband has given me a good injury attorney that I can talk to, and my mom needs to help me fill the documents out once I get there. When the court date is though. Spitting at you is also assault. It's time to call the police again to add this incident to your report. ETA, please reconsider and file changes. This woman is escalating. You need to let the police do their job. Letting her think she can intimidate you is dangerous. Couldn't agree more. Also, spitting at / on someone is even more dangerous in today's world, what with COVID being a thing. For all we know, it could be dormant in the lady's system and now she spat it onto you. File charges and keep yourself safe. File charges. She's assaulted you twice now, clearly she's not willing to back off. Keep track of when she shows up and how long she stays and any other incidences with her so you can file for a restraining order. Not to mention, isn't waiting outside of someone's home for presumably hours to yell at them and spit in their face like stalking? She's waiting outside of his home. WTF? Please file charges and a restraining order to protect yourself and your family. At this point, I don't see any reason you wouldn't be able to do this. This needs to be dealt with legally. This is now 2 assaults on you by an adult. Based on your previous post, it could also be considered hate crimes. If she has demonstrated racist actions in the past, she is clearly racist. It's how she acts on it that can make the case for a hate crime, that escalates the trouble she could face, depending on local laws. Work with the police to get the strongest charge possible laid, and seek damages in civil court. You do not deserve any of this crap. Third update on table saw incident. I'm sorry for lying about my age. I'm 16, not 17. I was scared of everyone calling me a child and that I'm immature. I know. I'm tall for a 16-year-old. As for updates? Well, there's a few. The first update was me talking to police about her harassing me. I'm pretty sure something happened because ever since then she's been quiet about the situation, where before she used to call me and berate me for everything. Second update is my BIL is trying to go through the process of a restraining order and wants to help me during the court hearing. He also did install a saw stop. Reason we didn't have one before is really unknown. Third update is I actually injured my hand even more. Last weekend I sprained my wrist. So that's why my friend Harley is doing it. Sorry for the slow update. Fourth update is that Kylon's mom kicked him out. Apparently he's been in contact with the police as well because of how she's been treating him recently. I guess she's been hit pretty hard by this because she's been drinking heavily and being mean to Kentucky. She found out about it and kicked Kai out to the curb. I've tried contacting him, but I've gotten no answer since. Thank you all for your patience and prayers. I do appreciate it, and soon I will be getting the justice I deserve. What the heck did KY do? He just was being nice and sympathetic to someone almost getting their hand chopped off. And she pushed up for her child, and after all this she kicks out her son. This isn't about KY apparently, or at least not anymore. I'm not sure why you're not suing them. That woman, it's a manure storm, Manurenado. What the heck is the difference between 16 and 17 when it comes to maturity? Most likely the last update. The time has come to update you all on what will probably be the last of this situation, hopefully. Sorry if there's any typing errors, my hand still feels funny from my wrist. EM was supposed to be scheduled for court, but it never came. Apparently some people have figured out who she was IRL from word being spread, and she's lost a lot of friends from it. This is what her husband has disclosed, at least. Not sure what led up to it, but she was drinking and drove onto one of the highways and got into a massive crash. Everyone else involved got away with a few injuries, but she was basically dead at the scene. So yeah, I guess that's really how it ends. Not the ending everyone was hoping for, lol. Sometimes karma works in the worst ways possible. Thank you to everyone who really supported me through everything. I appreciate you all. Hang, have you been checked for nerve damage in your hand and wrist? Because injuries like that can cause damage to your nerves, sometimes permanently. Yes, and I do have severe damage. It takes me a while to type these posts, lol. You should sue her estate for any medical and rehabilitation services. They can cost a pretty penny. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.